What's going on, gamers? Glowing Gear Studios here, coming at you with a brand new video. Here we have, for those of you that are uncultured and not familiar with artistic brilliance, we have Master Porky from Mother 3, the sequel to Earthbound. Now, if you've never heard of that, or you played it before, very strongly recommend you go give that a try. This guy also was a boss in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and from what I saw in some YouTube comments, had a pretty significant, left a pretty significant mark on a lot of younger gamers who thought this guy was pretty scary. So we're going to sculpt him, because I think this design is absolutely fantastic, and I love the dystopian energy that it gives off. So what do we got? We got a sphere for the head, cone, or cylinder rather, for the body of him. And then we have another set of spheres that have been elongated for the arms, right? Nothing too crazy. This is a very simple, basic kind of structure. Now, we're going to work with a lot of cubes and cube variations. So check this out. For the bed, what? Oh, we just erased for no reason. Here we go. For the bed, we got a cube right here. We got another one for the backboard right there. Then check this out. Another one right here. You could see it right there. Look, and then we just mirror it. Lots of mirrors, too. This is a very symmetrical image. I decided to keep them in a static pose, in which you'll see later that that's what I did, because I think it's just, it has a very menacing energy, and I think it just doesn't work well with a dynamic pose. So you'll see. For the headboard, we got another cube. We're going to do little spheres for the eyes, right? They're right there. For the little mustache thing, just going to draw out a tube. For the teeth, again, more cones, right? This isn't so bad. And then for these, he's got, it's a spider, right? So he's got 8 claws. So we got cones here, and then these are just going to be cylinders, right? That we're just going to duplicate and mirror so that it's the same on both sides. You can see where this is going. And beyond that, all the other supporting structures, like these little things, I think these are supposed to be like antenna. These are just going to be extruded from a regular mesh. This stuff is not rocket science, people. I would love to elaborate, and I will probably be posting a video on more complex shapes. That's pretty much it. That's the extent of what we're going to be working with here. So let's get to sculpting. Let's do it. All right. It is sculpting time. So let's get right to it. What are we going to do here? Sphere for the head. For the hair, we're going to be duplicating a sphere and mirroring it. So it has that symmetrical kind of, you know, little bowl cut thing that he has going on. I'm not going to lie, not a fan of this hairstyle. But you know what? Master Porky gets to do whatever he wants. He is a dystopian dictator after all. So, and you're like, whoa, what? This character's a freaking dictator? And I was like, yes, you should go play the game. It is a lot darker than you would believe the Mother series would be. It is also substantially darker than its predecessor, Earthbound. So, go give it a shot if you're curious. The game is a little bit long. It is an RPG. So, give it a shot. But I think that you will be thoroughly surprised. And also, you know, lovely Nintendo did not put it on the American eShop. It only came out in Japan, so a fan translation had to be done in order to localize the game and actually have it, you know, in the English language. So you got to find that ROM, but it's not so hard. There's also online platforms. Anyway, here is Master Porky, right? This is just the basic shapes that we have for him, just a kind of placeholder for, all right, here's a little boy that we have, a little boy that is much, much older than he looks. So his body stopped aging. You'll see. There's some craziness that happens in the game. Now, like I said, lots of cubes that are going to be done for this little bed frame over here. We're going to be, you know, let's say I did the little the mattress, I suppose, that is a cube. We're going to be doing for the 2 sides of the frame. We're going to be taking 2 elongated rectangular prisms, and then what you just saw right here, this little fancy technique, where, again, it's a little amateur, but we're going to work with what we got. I took cylinders, and then I took another cylinder, and then I hollowed one side of it so that I get a nice natural curve, and then I take those cylinders, and then I voxel merge it to the sides of the frame so that the actual frame curves inwards at the front, because you could see right here in the reference image on the left that it curves in the front in a natural arch, and then towards the back, it squares off with a right angle. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm taking another set of rectangular prisms, connecting it to that frame in the back and squaring that edge off. So I'm just now doing a little bit of repositioning, making sure that we get everything done. What you're seeing here is I'm taking a series of rectangular prisms, connecting them all together, and then using mirrored symmetry on multiple axes. So it's not only front and back, but on the sides. That way it stays symmetrical on all sides. I duplicate it, hollow it out, and then this is that little piece that you see in the back, right? This one, if you look at the, let's say, I'm just going to pause this real quick. If you're going to look right behind Master Porky's head, that kind of little arching structure that's under the two things that look like cups, that's what that is. So I'm working on that now. This right here is the back of the, this is the headboard, I guess. Not the headboard, the backboard. And it would, this is what's going to be actually set in the back of the spider mech. So again, lots of fun shapes. This was an intense project, I will not lie. It was a lot more complicated than I expected it was going to be. But it was a good time. It was using a lot of hard surface techniques, so that's why you're seeing so many cuts using the trim tool. And I'm setting a lot of these shapes at 45-degree angles, at 90-degree angles, to get those really, really hard edges. Now, this is where the intensity was dialed up a little more because I had to figure out how to make this work. Right now, I'm building the legs. So you see that it starts with this square structure that's going to kind of serve as the anchoring point, and then it's a sphere that I cut to serve as the pivot point for the upper leg. And then now what I'm going to be doing is I take a cylinder, I lower the density of the mesh so that it has very, very hard edges and it becomes a hexagon. I mask the middle so it looks like there are two plates that are put on either side. And then I set that to serve as the pivot points. You could see these. I'm going to go again, pause it real quick. If you look at any of the legs, see how there's these little purple nodes that are inside of these hexagons? That's what that's supposed to be. So I'm going to be adding those very soon. I do a similar technique, right? If you look at this claw that I have, that I use for each of at the ends of the legs, I take a cone, lower the density substantially so it has very, very hard edges, and then I voxel mesh it so it's smooth and manipulable, right? So I take that, I mask off a little region so it has that little flare. You can see that it's kind of separated by these, let's say the dark purple, and then this light pinkish hue. That's what I'm doing right here. That's why I use that mask tool, and you see me shaping out that top of the flare so it looks like a little frill for each of the legs. I take that, set it to an appropriate angle, and then I duplicate it and put it inside of itself. So you see that right now I'm just fixing it up. I add that it has a little head that goes on top of the final pivot point, so I guess, you know, it serves as a little bit of protection for the joint. And then you see that I duplicated the actual spike, so now it looks like there's 3 ribs that are with each of the ends of the leg segments. So I take the legs, get into a nice position, nice natural looking bend, and then I duplicate it and I set it roughly equal to itself so it's, you know, distributed equally. And of course, the spider mech has that one offset leg pair that kind of points upwards, and this is what we have so far. So at this point, I am elated. I am so pleased with the progress that we have been making. You know, the shape is really coming together. He looks intimidating. It's, again, the best word I could use to describe it is very dystopian. You know, this is a character that in the game he's, you know, in Earthbound, because Porky was an antagonist in Earthbound, he was threatening there, but nowhere near as much as he is in this. In this game, he's a menace. Like, he tortures animals. He's a bad guy. He's not to be messed with. So you'll see, because I know you guys will play. You guys are loyal Glowing Gear Studios followers. You'll take my word for it, right? Now here I'm making the headboard. Where's the baseboard? Maybe that's the word I was looking for. Whatever. You know, comment in the video. Wow, comment in the video below. Say comment in the comments below what you think it is. You know, totally not trying to foster engagement or anything. But yeah, so that I'm making that little scary face. I'm making the mouth of the bed frame. So this is all just squares and cylinders, people. Like, the single best advice that I could give for the model making process is don't make it hard for yourself. Break everything down into its respective shapes, and I promise you, you're gonna make so much progress. It doesn't, even if a project seems daunting at first, You know, this is actually advice that I got from an old friend back in college, where I had moved in, and she was already done. Like, she already did her thing, so she was visiting my dorm, and I said, oh my god, look at all the stuff we have to do. There's just so much. Like, and then there's so many things that you feel very overwhelmed, and you're like, I don't even want to do anything. So what she said, it says, at the end of the day, you just gotta pick something, and then just keep picking more things, and just keep working with it. And my dad had given me similar advice at a different time, where, you know, he said, how do you eat an elephant? I was like, what the hell is that even supposed to mean? I don't know. And he says, you eat it one bite at a time. And I said, yeah, I guess that does make sense. It's not going to get done all at once. So that's what you do. You pick something, you work with it, and you'll be amazed when you take a step back and breathe, right? And you look at all your work, and you're like, wow, I really came far. So that's exactly what I've been feeling at this point. You know, with each step, it sounds like a lot, but now look at this, right? This is pretty much the completed model. So shy of texturing and adding little details here and there, you'll see that I add cables and little light nodes that are on the bed frame. This is pretty much what we're going to be sticking with. So you see it, if you look real quick, let's see right there at this shot. If you look at Master Porky's right hand, you see little light nodes, there's those little bumps, and then you see cables that and then if you look behind his head too, in that little chamber, you see those nodes. So I added little details, again, it's called greeble, right? It's like little mechanical details to make it look more complicated than it really is. So then I add texture all over the place, kind of scratched metal, little, you know, just to, again, give it a little bit more realism. Basic texture and basic paint is light purples and dark purples. You know, obviously there's going to be blue for his overalls. Wanted to give it an offset yellow white to show the age. Like, this is a very worn out shirt. I interpreted this as he's wearing socks and sandals like a typical old dude. So, you know, I gave him, you know, black sandals, white socks. And then for the legs of the spider mech, it's, again, purple. And each of those frills has this kind of pinkish hue. So now I'm adding a little bit more paint to give it more depth, give it a little bit more realism, just to make it look like a much more alive. And you can see it real quick right there. Let's say in this shot, in the ears, the structure of the jawline, or rather, you know, lack thereof. Under the hair, it's dark purple. And then you see, let's say, if you look at the frame of the spider mech, if you look at all the edges, I added this yellowish hue to show that there's paint that's been scratched off. And now all the legs look a lot more alive. There's a shiny metallic hue on each of the actual legs themselves. And at this point, now it's just a matter of touching it up. So if you like what we got so far, just you wait for the final presentation. Guys, I'm so happy with the way this came out, and I hope you like it too. So without further ado, allow me to present to you the completed Master Porky. Alright guys, so what do you think? I absolutely love the design of Master Porky. You know, the original sprite work I think was fantastic, and I think I did a pretty good job recreating him in 3D. But the question is, do you agree with that? If so, or if not, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you would like to see next. I am all ears, always looking for new things to try. So, by all means, leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're so inclined. And once again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and you have a good one. Bye-bye.